not mentioned how much I love my teammates.
after surviving the Lone Star State, it is time for GLSR to fight a monster. Tonight, Dover Motor Speedway is the site of round 2 of this GLSR Downrange Transport Premier Series playoffs. Tonight could separate the men from the boys, if you will, as we get ready for 130 laps, 130 miles of action. There is Miles with the old COT. I think they might want to update that part, but they haven't yet. It's okay. They start finish line. That's pretty cool. But it is time to go racing. It's the RBR 130. Roblox bracket racing here from Dover. As I'm the captain, we appreciate everybody joining us here on this Wednesday evening as playoff race number 2 about to kick off. And we had a crazy Texas race last week that saw 3 cautions and a long green flag run and a familiar face going to victory lane. Stephen Miles becoming the first 3-time winner on the season. And, of course, he has clinched his spot into the Final 4 at Homestead-Miami Speedway. He, Fontaine, Diego Sainz, and Brandon Alphin right now are the 4 that are in. But you see Bryson, you see Tyler Pluff, all right there. Peyton Johnson, right there. Dalton Ladisor, all there. Cedric Ingram, Brian Sutphin, they're going to need a little bit of help now. And you can almost say Ladisor and Gortman might need a little bit of help. Obviously working their way in after the clash last week at the Texas Motor Speedway. Dover tonight, which of course being round number 2 of the series as we pull up the schedule. Gateway next week. If you want to call that the short track of the playoffs, you can. It's only a quarter mile shorter than Texas and a quarter mile bigger than Dover, which I guess technically would mean this is the short track when I think logically through it. But either way, got some great racing to go coming up here in just a few minutes or so from this Dover Motor Speedway. And got some great racing here for you in just a few minutes or so. Right now, though, I want to bring up a couple of guests here that are going to talk. As you know, one of the other battles that has been going on has been the Rookie of the Year. And PRG, of course, has been the sponsor of the Rookie of the Year standings there. And, of course, that has been Lucas Gortman, who has pretty much been leading that show. I'm going to have to, unfortunately, haven't had a chance to get an updated standings from the admins and that, but I wanted to bring that up so it's not forgotten. Of course, PRG, appreciate those guys for sponsoring the Rookie of the Year battle. But Lucas Gortman, of course, been leading that battle here throughout this season when it comes to that battle. All right, so let's bring up a couple of guests here real quickly. Normally, we would do some kind of a driver info thing. Tonight, we're going to skip that, unfortunately. But the good news is we're going to do that for a good reason, because I'm going to bring Josh Gagnon up here. And also, who was the other? There was somebody else I was going to bring up, but I've lost a name.
May not be here.
He's not here, so I'm just bringing up Josh Gagnon. Leave a message at the beep. I think he got stuck. Got stuck maybe in the infield at Dover running the horse track. But needless to say, Josh.
I thought I saw him climbing the sculpture out front, the concrete guy.
He should have known to stay away from monsters. But Josh Gagnon joins us because, Josh, you are somebody who's done the Roblox bracket racing. And best way to explain this, and I'm going to let you explain it more thorough. But for those who are maybe, when you're done explaining this, to paint the picture, I guess be the right way to word this, is I say it as a joke as Lego racing, so to say. But in a way, that's kind of what it is. Explain what Roblox bracket racing is.
No, I definitely like a really shrunken down core, you could call it Lego racing. But it's so far beyond that now. Like version 1 of the program was very like rudimentary, you know, as far as like the Christmas tree and the timing system and all that jazz. But yeah, anywho, besides the point. So Roblox bracket racing is basically, you know, we're all over racers. We have our iRacing,
Mhm.
and I'm a bracket racer in real life. It's a niche form of drag racing. I'm not going to explain that, but we don't have a sim or any way for us to really practice.
Right.
Our sport that we treasure and love so much that every weekend we're at their drag strip doing it. So the man by the name of Kyle Bigley and Bob Murphy decided to crack down and see if they can make it in Roblox. Because Roblox is, I mean, I'm sure some of your guys' kids play it, but there's so many different things you can do on it. And I don't want you guys to be turned off by the name Roblox. Again, it's a sim for us to practice our skills, just like these guys practice on iRacing. If I'm sure if we had something a little more, what's the word? I don't know, like a better program than Roblox, we would use it. But at the moment, right now, where we stand in current time, that's not possible.
Well, it kind of
So
separates. Go ahead.
we're just using what we have.
I was gonna say it kind of separates itself basically because iRacing has its platform, and of course other racing sims have their platforms. Roblox has this platform, but it's not just racing. I mean, I've heard, we've talked, and others have talked about the different formats. I've heard about the hockey one, of course, with
Oh
um,
yeah.
people liking that one and different versions. So it's not just
Don't they
racing.
even have a don't they even have a NASCAR thing on Roblox? Like I think they do.
I don't unfortunately haven't done the Roblox thing. Pretty much the only reason I heard of Roblox is you and Devin and whoever else does it.
Yeah. There's a few of us here that race in the league every week that do partake in the RBR activities, but
Hmm.
it's just, again, I'll beat the dead horse. It's just something that we've needed for years. iRacing has been around for what, almost 15 years, something like that.
Pretty long time, especially when it was what was it, one? I believe the first when it was first released, or first actually is what it
Yeah.
was called when it was first released. But yeah,
Yeah, you go back
mhm,
to the papyrus days. We're
right.
going to talk about that, but yeah, it's just a place for us to practice and hone in our skills, just like we do here every Wednesday night in GLSR. It's just a way for us to get out there and also have fun with our friends across the country. Because here I am sitting in Nevada, and here you are sitting in where you're sitting.
Somewhere,
Yeah, somewhere I'm not going to say, but
somewhere between
yeah,
Indiana and Georgia.
I would hope so. I hope you didn't spry out of there, man.
Hey, you never know.
But yeah, that's basically it. It's just like iRacing, but we don't have an iRacing platform to build it
Right.
off of, so we're
Well,
stuck with what we got.
as you see, it's on PC, it's on mobile, which I find interesting. How do you Roblox on your phone?
Honestly, I've never tried it. I guess it works. I guess it doesn't. But I also wanted to add one more point, if that's all right.
Yeah.
All these cars, you've seen the BeamNG game, right? The soft body physics simulator.
Can't say I have.
Regardless, it's popular on the TikToks and the YouTubes and
Oh, maybe
stuff.
I have
But
seen it, just haven't realized what it was.
yeah, exactly. Well, they design their cars through Blender, which is I'm sure you're familiar, a 3D designing program like
Yes.
Photoshop, but it's a 3D plane.
Right.
All of the cars that we use in RBR are designed in Blender. They
Oh,
don't
okay.
look like Lego cars. They look like beautifully designed pieces of art. And that's what they are, is the builders over at RBR spend weeks building these cars. And it's really cool. It's just a cool tight-knit community, some cool guys doing what we love, just like this.
Right. So for those who are maybe visualizing the special racing Batman in a Lego race, that's not what we meant by that. So it's definitely its unique version. I know Josh has done some races and people put tournaments up and that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So if you're
They race
someone
for
that,
some big money over there. If
no
you like
kidding,
degenerate gambling, that's for you.
yeah, there you go. So how do they get like started? Like any suggestions?
Getting started into RBR.
Yeah.
I'd say go on the interwebs and you can go to their website, robloxbracketracing.com, and it's got it explaining what it is, and then it's got a Discord link. I'd say go into the Discord, reach out to one of the staff members, and say, "Hey, I'm new. I want to get started. Where do I start?" And we'll take care of you.
There you go. Josh, appreciate your time, man. We're going to get ready for
Good
this
stuff.
second playoff race. Yeah, we'll either see you on the track or up in the backstretch there where the casino is or wherever you
Yeah,
want to
I'm
be.
already
So,
in the casino, four
yeah.
beers deep. So
Oh, look out now. All right. So
I'm just kidding.
do it
Thank you, Scott. Have a
responsibly
good night,
now.
man.
You too. That is Josh Gagnon, of course, helping with Roblox bracket racing, something he has done for a little bit now, at least I know of. And yeah, that's the sponsor for tonight. 130 laps of racing here with RBR. So appreciate those guys for being a part of the sponsorship here at Dover Motor Speedway. So we're coming up on qualifying here in about a minute or so. So we'll try to get some drivers on here throughout the race, obviously, as we go, if we get some yellows and that kind of thing. But definitely wanted to make sure that we got the time in here for Josh and obviously with RBR, so you can talk about that here in a little bit. And you see the visionary of this track, built back in the 1960s. Dover used to be an asphalt track. Back in the early 1990s or so, it was repaved into concrete, actually 95 to be exact. And the reason why it is concrete is not the reason you would think. You might think, well, it's something different maybe compared to other NASCAR tracks, so they put it on concrete. Believe it or not, this track has so much speed and so much, the weight of the cars and the center of gravity presses down so much that, believe it or not, the cars would tear up the asphalt. It's kind of the same thing with Bristol with the speeds. And in Martinsville, the concrete in the corners, because the asphalt and the weight of the cars would be torn up. And that's why Dover swapped over to concrete in 1995. And actually, this is the original pavement from that 1995 surface. I know they've had some issues here and there at times or whatever, but the concrete's held up and been pretty strong throughout the years. So, real cool story. And you see the dirt track right here where you see the vehicles here. And then you see the inner portion right there. That's the horse racing track, believe it or not, of Dover Downs that is featured on this track. And believe it or not, the garage area, you got to actually walk across the dirt track to get to the actual racetrack and stuff. So pretty interesting little nuggets about this Dover Motor Speedway. Qualifying is underway. Let's go down and check out some things here for a second as Brandon Alphin in that Kyle Larson special. The Valvoline number 21 going to bring the car on the track and see what he can do here for qualifying for the race. And you see the time's going to pop up there at the top side as Diego Sainz backing up that fast lap he had last week at Texas, 23:64. This being the one of the tracks, I should say, in real life that when you are in the car, you feel it. All the G-forces literally push you down into the seat. You fall into a canyon almost that is the 24 degrees of banking. Then you come back up. The main straightaway is 9 degrees, which is bigger than New Hampshire, banking-wise. As Alphin goes P2, triple sixes there with a 23. And just a little off the pole from Diego. Bryson up the third. Dalton, Strayer, Fontaine, Sutphin, Jacob Thornton, and Tanyan Sutphin up to the 9th position. Here's the law firm, Peyton Johnson, Michigan winner. See him kind of diving into track. And that's another feature I want to bring up here tonight. This is going to be the first time that I have seen Dover with this oval refresh. So I'm curious to see how much this track is going to spread out. Of course, with the real life racing in Dover, usually it's a bottom feeding track and then eventually as the tires wear, you can move up. Not sure if that's what we're going to see here, but I'm sure as this track does rubber up, I'll be surprised to see that top groove come into play here as Peyton P8 with a 23.95. So right now, Diego appears to be the guy to beat. As of right now, Cedric Ingram P10, Dalton Carter up to 13th. Here is Joey Ladesseur. Another playoff driver here. You'll hear the term diamonding a lot tonight, and if I see it, I'll bring it up to you during the race here. Cars will drive it in pretty deep, slide up the banking a little bit, kind of like Joey you're seeing right there, and then try to apex turn 2. It's another way to race this track. You can almost double apex to corners like a road course. Joey P9 for now. Let's see if he moves up. He does. An 86 moves up to P8. So, all right, with that said, we'll see if Diego Sainz can hold on to the pole. But first, we need to step aside for our national anthem here at the Dover Motor Speedway.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Great rendition of the national anthem. Of course, you go back in history to 2001, the weekend after 9/11, and those unfortunate events, those tragic events. This was the race that brought NASCAR back. Of course, Dale Jr. winning that day in a race that we will not forget. That is for sure. All right, let's set up the starting lineup for this Roblox Bracket Racing 130. Diego Sainz on his second pole in a row. Looking to make a statement here. He finished second last week. Looking to go one better this evening as he'll start alongside Brandon Alphin. Alex Bryson, Jason Dalton, row number 2. Lucas Strayer and Sam Fontaine, they'll take row number 3. Row 4, Tyler Pluff, who's coming off a third place finish last week at Texas. Thought he was going to steal it when it was over with. And Joey Ladisor there in row 4. Row 5, Stephen Miles, the Texas winner. Final 4 driver, he's advanced. And Brian Sutphin, who is going to need a win if he's going to advance into the Final 4, likely, unless he gets a pretty big race here tonight. Peyton Johnson, Jacob Thornton, they'll take row number 6. Row 7, Sean Peach and Cedric Ingram. Tanyan Sutphin, Dalton Carter there in row number 8. Cam Ingram and Richard Midkiff, row 9. Drift and Devin Ramsey, they will take row number 10 here tonight. 20 cars, it looks like, going to start this race as they will roll off. Race information. 130 laps again, 130 miles. It is a little warm today. 85 degrees ambient, 119 down on track. That is going to be a slickery track. 62% humidity under partly cloudy skies and a little breezy too, 16 mile an hour winds. I'll have to pull up the weather and show you the distance or where it's coming from. Of course, this track sits right out near the Atlantic Ocean, near the Air Force Base in Dover. That is quite a bit of a breeze, if you will. Good crowd here at Dover. They work their way into turn 3 and 4. In front of this sold-out grandstands in the second race of GLSR's playoffs in the Downrange Transport Premier Series sees the green flag as Sainz and Alphin lead them to the front. Our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. Front five already single file. Not surprised to see that. Ooh, Signs almost got the... I was waiting on somebody to get the wall back there. Never fails. At Dover, that wall will reach out and grab you. Miles and Peyton Johnson back here. You see a lot of Soar. And then Sean Peachin. Somebody else got the wall there. That's, who is that right there? I'm not sure. A couple different paint schemes I'm noticing here tonight. It was actually Fontaine that caught the wall. In that 77, the blue numbers kind of threw me off. Yeah, Strager's there in that Lowe's looking paint scheme. Single file except for Stephen Miles. I think he's doing Stephen Miles type things here, just kind of falling back. We're going to let this race come to him. Of course, this track, though, is very difficult to pass. I mean, everybody's almost hitting the wall. Track, one of the more difficult ones to pass on. Signs pulled away already, 0.2 of a second on Brandon Alphin. That's a great photo. You can kind of hear the sound of the car when they get up onto the straightaway. You can hear that the pitch kind of pick up, almost like the wheel spin as the car gets light and it drops down right there. This is one of those tracks where you hear a driver say landing. Maybe it's tight on landing or loose on landing. What they mean is you get into the corner here and the car lands, if you will. And from there it reacts. Kind of like think of your car as you're going over a set of railroad tracks. And maybe you're going too fast when you jump those railroad tracks. Usually when you land, the car reacts, so to say. Not necessarily ramping, but the car gets light and then lands back down. Sometimes the car might actually drift a little bit for a second or whatever. That's what I'm talking about on landing in the racetrack. Peyton Johnson back here with Fontaine. Lucas Strayer. I hate to say this, Strayer might be holding these guys up a little bit. Got a little bit of a train there behind him. Strayer playing defensive on lap 9. Okay. In fairness, some of these others would probably do the same. I did notice that Cam Ingram, Devin Ramsey, and Drift did not take the green. I did see Drift was blinking more than a normal human being's eyeballs. And then Ramsey, he's probably playing slots with Gagnon. As for Cam, not sure what happened to Camo. But fortunate for those guys not to be here in the race. Already 11 laps complete. One thing that is going to come into play in this race is tire wear. I say that because this track not only eats up cars, being the Monster Mile, but it eats up tires. The right front takes a beating around this 1 mile track. You can go easily 75, 80 laps maybe on a tank of fuel. I'm not so sure that you're going to want to do that tonight. You might want to split this race probably in half, one stop, but they do got a little less fuel. So they might be forced to do maybe, I'd have to do the math with the percentages and stuff, but probably 55, 60, 65 laps. But 65 would be the number. If you don't get to that number, then you're looking at easily a two-stop strategy. So do you play it safe and go 50-50? Do you go ahead and try to get to that 65 number? But again, it comes down to how hard you drive the cars. You see Miles taking advantage of that Pizza Hut car of Sean Peachin. I didn't say this last week, so I owe him two. Petchin. And Miles up to the 9th position. Up here at the front, Brandon Alphin. And caution as Sean Peachin, the Pizza Hut car, spins over turn 4. If this car has no damage, I'm going to freak. Oh my gosh. Somebody explain this one to me. Did Peachin literally spin and not hit anything? Let's see the replay. Oh, he got hit by another car. That's going to help things. Okay, so he kind of straight out. Lazy spin. Thornton helped. Or did he hit it? You know what? If he locked that down, like where I'm going with this is you do not spin at Dover and hit something. Sorry, it's got to automatically default into this camera on my replays. Let me see if I can fix that real quick and get you a better shot. Here you go. Oh, there's netcode off of, I think that's Brian Sutphin. And Sean did a great job to lock that car down. Holy cow, that's something you will not see at Dover often. I bring that up because Dover is home of one of the greatest racing saves of all time. And see, I might get in trouble if I pull it up, so I don't want to do it myself. I'll just tell you, look up Jimmy Johnson Dover spin when after the race. Don't do it during the broadcast. You hurt my numbers. And you will see arguably the greatest save of all time. He spins off turn 4 during qualifying, and he literally spins the whole entire front straightaway. Now, as you see, the banking's at 9 degrees, so this is called a self-cleaner. It will take cars usually, and it'll spin, hit the outside wall, and then come down and hit the inside wall, usually, of course, with gravity and stop there. Johnson's car goes spinning, and he does a couple of spins, if I remember correctly, and then he has it spun back the other way. And then literally his rear tires are in the grass of the infield of the front straightaway, which is all of like a yard wide. And you see his car just spin around 3 or 4 times, and he keeps it off of both walls. It is a feat that I don't know if anyone else will ever do. See, back a couple seasons ago, this little asphalt strip here was grass. If I ever had a chance to ask Jimmy Johnson a question, I mean, and trust me, there are so many questions you want to ask this man. The one I would ask him is, what was better, that save at Dover or the save he made in the qualifying for the Indy 500 a couple seasons ago in turn 1 when we thought his car was gone and somehow he held on to it? All right, so caution out. Looks like we should get one to go this time by. It's going to give me an opportunity. Let's talk to our pole sitter from tonight. Diego Sainz winning the pole here this evening. Diego, do you have a copy, my friend?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, man. Well, you get your second straight pole in this season. First things first, what is this photo?
Well, it's from this anime that me and Cameron enjoy. Just one of my favorite characters.
Gotcha. That's a pretty cool deal. It's an interesting photo, but hey, let's talk about the race itself here. Obviously, so far you've led all 16 laps. Brandon's been kind of breathing down your neck a little bit. How's the car feel so far?
So far, it feels good. I could take this car far with how I'm running the line, but with Alphin behind me, he scares me, man. He scares me. But I'm just gonna try and keep it clean, keep it safe, and you know, see if I can finally keep a pole and a win. That's what I want.
Hey, this is one of those tracks that'll help you do that. But I do want to ask really quickly. You've had a chance, obviously, to practice for the hour and maybe amongst other times. The oval refresh here at Dover, first time we've seen it. Have we seen this track spread out? Will we see it spread out, or is it going to be a bottom feeder?
I say it might be bottom and middle.
Okay.
Depending on where you're at in the field and how your tires are feeling, you could run the middle to gain some spots, gain some time, and then For the ones that want to save tires, go as long as they can, it's a low line.
All right. Well, hey, man, appreciate your time. You got the restart coming up here. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. That is Diego Sainz, the pole sitter here for the second. He's swept the pole so far here in the playoffs. And we'll get him down to his channel as we get ready to go back to the green flag here at lap number 18. Sainz has led them all. Brandon's been right there. Look at Tyler Pluff carrying that momentum into the playoffs. He was the bubble guy, literally. Snuck his way in at the last minute and went and finished third last week and has set himself up for a potential run at the Final Four. Spinning the tires as Sainz as he launches off. Green flag back out. Everybody trying to find their space, and you got to be very careful in these restarts. This track can be very hectic, especially if you spin the tires around another car and that kind of thing, and make contact. And next thing you know, you've got a couple. There's an example right there. Back there's Dalton gets the wall, but you see Alphin, not a good restart, falls back to fourth. As Pluff gets by for second, Strayer by for third, and now AB, his teammate, there behind him. And that Steve Park throwback, almost, if you will. Already starting to move up a little bit. You heard that just getting brought up. 1, 2, 3, 4 cars smashed the wall right there. Fontaine and Kieran just had to get out of the throttle there. It's a little bit tight. Going to try to stretch that out a little bit up here in this middle group. Now, the one thing about it, when you get into a groove like this, you got to remember the pavement is fresh up there. The rubber's not there. So it eats up the tires a lot more. See the Ric Flair drip going inside. If he can clear him, he does not. This track, to complete a pass, you need every single inch of it. One guy that's not going to give you every inch of it. He's going to literally fight you in every moment he can, and that's Fontaine. Finally, Miles goes by. And now there's Dalton, who is inside the team. Now, he might give him a little bit more to work with here, being a teammate. But Fontaine does his thing. Appreciate the viewers checking us out this evening. If you're new to the chat, hit that subscribe button. If you're not new to the chat, appreciate you coming back. Your job's to go get us more viewers and seeing really good numbers so far this season. Appreciate everybody joining us and being a part of the broadcast now. Been trying to get obviously Facebook and Twitter going a little bit more, but been a little bit busier of a week at work. Like, I haven't had like the stops or anything usually, but with the weather, we had obviously the first system come through yesterday, and it was one of the rare times I can ever remember delivering packages in slush. And what I mean by that is it was literally 30 degrees where I live. It had snowed about 2 inches very quickly, and then changed over to rain. And I literally felt like I was walking. I feel like I was walking slush. Everything was water and ice. It felt like, and that slowed me down. And today, obviously, it was just cold and windy and a little bit of a struggle. But of course, it's going to get worse. Going to get pretty daggum cold here in the next little bit or so. As a matter of fact. Josh Gaming was in here earlier talking about RBR. He's out there in Vegas, or near Vegas, Nevada. I'm sure those guys are going to feel the effects, if they haven't already, of this new system that's coming through. They're going to get cold. I know they've talked about the Kansas City football game against Miami, the playoff game Saturday night, that if you have Peacock, you'll see it. If you don't, You might want to find a local Buffalo Wild Wings or something. Or a Black Horizon Brewery if you're near Chicago. Shout out those guys, old sponsors. You can't watch the game unless you have Peacock. And it's supposed to be all of 0 degrees at kickoff with 10 to 20 mile an hour winds. They're saying it potentially could be the coldest NFL game in history. And that beats out the Ice Bowl of 1960 something. Lonosaur inside of Miles, so Miles now starting to fall back a little bit. Might be him still strategizing, saving his tires. You see Peachin coming through. Miles back to the 9th position. Lonosaur up to 7th. And you see where it's tough to pass. Alfin fell back to 4th. Remember, he was threatening for the lead just a little bit ago, and now is stuck behind Lucas Strayer. And the one thing about Strayer I'm starting to notice is he seems to have a short-run car. Because if you remember in the first run of the race, Strayer kind of, I don't want to say held up, but seemed to be struggling and had a line behind him. And here he is now. There's a gap between he and Pluff, and there's a line behind him. But this track is so aero-dependent with the speeds and the banking. You either try to move up and get some fresh pavement or even try to get that left side of that nose right there you're seeing. If you can get that left side of the nose about where the E on Valvoline is and over to the edge of the car, if you can get that little piece, there you see Bryson doing a little bit of it, into the air, believe it or not, that'll help you with grip. And I've even been told by a NASCAR driver, I have this info, if you put this car and you can somehow run it right down, there's that little strip of gray that's right about where Alfin is there. As he cuts down here, you might have the run. There seems to be a little bit more grip down there. And of course, with the refresh, that might have been a lot actually, as I think about that out loud. All right, so 34 laps complete. As Lonosaur inside of Bryson now. Bringing Peachin with him. Now, these two did come to pit road at lap 15 under that caution and take tires, I believe. So that could be what you're seeing here is the fresh tires coming to the front. And you see 15 laps making that little bit of a difference. Hello. Hey, Shout Out Pizza, by the way. I know they're not a sponsor of the series, but they are a sponsor of the captain. But they did send me an app earlier, a special they were doing today, apparently for today only. They were doing like a you get a large pizza and you get a free large one or something. I was tempted. See a little bit of damage on that 69 car on the hood. That's right, I have a spoiler cam. Oops. So Diego's led all 38 laps here so far. Pluff now second. Or Strayer, non-playoff driver, 3rd position. Alfin there in 4th. Back here, this is the winner from last week. Stephen Miles of Texas. And Dalton back there. You wonder if Miles might try anything different here tonight. And I say that because there is really no advantage now other than you know your future when it comes to 2 weeks from now at Homestead. There's no advantage to winning more races other than maybe blocking another driver out. So is this a race where Miles can maybe be aggressive a little bit more and try to win this race with different strategies? Alfin trying to get underneath Strayer, and that has moved him side by side back here for 5th as Peachin working the top, the middle groove a little bit here. Gets that run to the top side. Throttling it just a little bit. Montesor is able to hold him off. And you see Bryson trying to get that clean air to that nose. I do want to address real quickly, as we're 42 laps in now. Haven't had a chance to talk about it a little bit. I've had a couple people ask me about it. Of course, the podcast, the Scalacast, was supposed to launch Monday. And I have been delayed a little bit on getting it launched. Obviously, the podcast is done, the first episode. It is just a matter of me getting it fully edited and on to the platforms and stuff like that. And I think back to when Sam Barnes and I did the podcast for GLSR. We had this issue a couple times. But I'm working with Sam. Sam has done so much for me since the relaunch here of the Captain Esports Network here these last last week or so now. And he's going to get me connected with the platform and stuff he has used in the past and stuff. But planning, if I can get it done tonight, I think I can, because all I really got to do is add the music to it and stuff. Then I will put it out on the platforms tonight. I was hoping to do it at the same time as launch it on the Captain Esports Network YouTube page here, but that has not happened. So if I can get it all worked out, I'll put a post out tonight and let you know that it's out on the platforms of Spotify and stuff like that, and then maybe do a launch tomorrow afternoon or something prior to the league race at 8 p.m. so that you can enjoy what I think is a fun one. I listened to it post-production, just kind of going through it, and unfortunately there are some things we talk about that actually have happened, and Nostra Miles here actually predicted something that we did not expect. And I don't think he even thought it would happen. It had happened. And I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to say it had to do with something in the news today that he just randomly asked about, and we were like, I mean, it's happened before with other forms of racing, but like not with stock cars. So we'll let you with that tease on the podcast here once we get it launched, and of course the interview with Chris Lewis, who was our guest. And hear the story of how the Captain Esports Network has been able to make it to 2023. On this little potato over here to my right. I call it one. It's actually been a pretty good machine. So Miles, battle with Peyton Johnson back here, the last two winners. Track, we're seeing it kind of open up a little bit here. Oh, almost some contact. Of course, this being round two of the Downrange Transport Premier Series playoffs here at Dover. We thought they had it tough this week. Wait till they go to Gateway next week and have to shift through the corners and have to fight for track position on a flat egg-shaped 1.25 mile track. Very long straightaways and different corners and different bankings. Oh, and Peachin still trying to get around. A lot of sore back here for position. There he goes inside. It's just so tough to make the pass here. I mean, you go into the corner. And you know what? Let's cut away. We got pit stop. Sam Fontaine on pit road. One of the hardest pit roads to get on in all of racing is right here at Dover. 35 miles an hour. Oh, by the way, too, you're going out there 170, 160 or so miles an hour, and you got to slow down to 35 and wrap all the way around turn 4 to the front straightaway. You lose 2 laps with ease. 4 tires, fuel, and they pull away. Strategy there, maybe from a couple of the KJD2 cars. Tanyan Sutphin's like, I'm just going to follow Sam. He seems to know what he's doing out here. Might not be necessarily a bad move to make, as there's Cedric Ingram leaving pit road. You're going to see those fresh tires come roaring up here through the field. Check on the weather here real quickly. 118-degree track temp. You see the tires. That's how much a difference you feel right there. As the 77 passes, 4 cars just like that. Unlaps himself. The problem, though, however, is he is still 1 lap down in this race. Making a pass on Peyton Johnson. As Richard Midkiff, another KJD2 car, going to pit road. As Tanyan making moves. Passing by miles, but still just seeing the close racing, but just not able to finish off the passes. What you're seeing these cars really having trouble doing when you're not able to use the whole entire width of the track to carry your momentum off the corner. It allows that car that's on the top side to keep the speed and make the moves to stay in front of you. What makes this track just so tough. You saw there Tanyan in the 7 car about running to the back of his teammate there. Question going to be, when does Diego come to pit road? He's got Tyler Pluff all over his rear. Oh, little Joey just clobbered the outside wall with Peachin. As Pluff to the inside and to the lead. That's another thing about this track you got to be careful of. You got to remember, the track opens up through the corners and then closes back up. Coming out of the corners, you can go high through there, but you have to come back down towards the bottom, or else you are going to pancake the wall like Lanasaur did off of turn 4. So Pluff becomes our second leader of the race. And you see Diego Sainz is falling all the way back to 8th all of a sudden here. And now it's going to come to pit road. Look at this trickiness. Jason Dalton also in with him. Oh, there's a shot through the wall by somebody. I think that was Dalton Carter. Hello. Hashtag move number to the front. You want to make Dalton Carter mad. Say that. Oh, somebody smoked over here in turn 1. Not sure if that was somebody spinning or leaving pit road. His signs is in all the way first stall. First stall. 4 tires and fuel and easily misleading. A lot of penalties in iRacing at this track. Comes right between that white line in front of his car to the white line down here by the red bar. That's the exit of pit road right there. You got to be at 35. You see him check up. Good move on his part. It's so easy because the habit of being that pole sitter and having that first pit stall, if you can launch right out and get on track and go without checking up for speed. But at Dover, with it being a slow speed limit, the gearing of these cars, it is so easy to be at 35 and all of a sudden you're over and get to that line and leave. AB going by a lot of sore for the 5th spot now. Again, we're past the halfway point officially, which, by the way, Tyler Plouffe, congratulations to him. Got himself a bonus point for leading at halfway. As again, Strayer a little defensive. To say I necessarily agree with that or disagree with that move, but you gotta do what you gotta do to hold your track position out there. As Bryson passes Peachin, gonna bring Miles with him. Steven been kind of struggling. Again, he's like the one car that has nothing to lose out here tonight. This photo caught me off guard last night when I was streaming. I see Bryson has the Dale Earnhardt photo. This is Dale Earnhardt a la 1983 when he drove the Wrangler car for Bud Moore. That's what this photo here reminds me of. As here come some leaders. Tyler Plouffe, Lucas Strayer, Sean Peachin. Lap 71. This should bring everybody to pit road, you would think. Tires and fuel. Peachin leaves. Plouffe gone, and now Strayer 14-7. Plouffe with the best stop out of the 3. Of course, Diego Sainz with the fresher tires there. He goes by, so he's going to easily have the advantage over these guys. But will those couple lap pressure tires, looks like about 7 laps in the end, will that play a role? As Miles passed Alfin, so now you're starting to see those who maybe saved tires and kind of held back a little bit now passing others who maybe have wasted their tires away, racing hard for the lead, and that's exactly what you've seen here as Alfin falls back behind Miles and Bryson now. The Laser Bunch now 1, 2, 3. Those are the only 3 cars not to make a pit stop yet in this race. Of course, Ladisor and Dalton Carter, those guys pitted at lap 15 with the caution. Fontaine is the first car, believe it or not, out with tires in the 6th position right now, but he has got about 5 seconds over Dalton, who's the next car. Well, you got Cedric Ingram between them, but Dalton's the first car at lap 62 to pit, so you've got about a 10-lap separation between those guys. So it's just different numbers at different places here. once we complete these pit stops here, we'll get you a little through the field here and kind of show you where everybody's pitted at and stuff. Jacob Thornton going by both Fontaine. Whoa! And Alphen needs to get to pit road. I don't know what he's waiting for, but that right front is roasted. You see it. I mean, Linda Ronstadt's out here at Dover right now. Blue by you. That's what everybody's doing. I don't know if Brandon's waiting on a certain lap or what he's doing. Of course, Brandon is very notorious, shall we say, for some interesting strategy calls, a la the Red Bull Ring a few seasons ago. As Ladisor pulls off, he comes to pit road. Another playoff driver. And you see what Ladisor is doing. There's a little trick here at Dover, by the way, for those who are not experienced on iRacing. You're welcome, for I'm about to show you. As you remember, on a track where you turn left all the time, remember, the shortest way around is the closer to the inside of the track, right? Look where these two are running coming onto pit road. They're up next to the outside wall. You notice Ladisor came in closer to the concrete. That little bit of space right there is a shorter distance. I've been known to in iRacing, especially when you're in an official race with pit stops, an NIS race or whatever. I mean, yeah, they have the what do you want to call it, gentleman's agreement, that you don't go through all the pit stalls. People, you don't want people doing that because you want to see where you're pitting. But nobody said anything about going to the far inside as far as you can on pit road, especially if you have less than 40 cars. So I just want to throw that out there. If you're ever running a race here at Dover and you're in, it's like an official race or something, a little shortcut over there, 3 and 4, as you come on the pit road. Same with like Richmond, pull that off. Even Kentucky, you can kind of just wrap around the concrete. There's always those little things in racing that you can try to catch an advantage on somebody. I just taught you a secret for those who are watching, in case you didn't know. All right, so cycle pit stops officially done. Jason Dalton, who just passed his teammate Fontaine, now leads by 0.7 of a second. And is Fontaine's second. Cedric Ingram now 2.3 seconds back in the third position. There's Cedric. Daytona winner, involved in some action last week, of course, with the mishap on pit road, or coming to pit road. Cedric runs third right now, and he is trying to hold off Peyton Johnson there behind him. It's a battle for third, fourth, and fifth. Peyton Johnson with about 9 lap fresher tires than that 19 car. But again, with the aerodynamics, Peyton just having a hard time getting around the 19. Peyton doesn't help when Cedric slides up, and now Peyton's got trying to get back to the bottom. If Cedric continues to diamond, the best thing Peyton can do is just paint that, I call it a line. There's no line down there. And the one thing you got to be careful of if you're Cedric, you see this all the time at this track. If a car is diamonding like he is, if Peyton Johnson comes off the corner with a run, he is going to stick that nose in there. And if Cedric comes back down, you're going to be under caution real quick. Here's Pluff outside his signs. Remember the tire difference here. Diego came in about 7 laps before Tyler. And now Pluff past signs and up to the 6th position here. As we have 86 laps in the books here, 44 laps to go. with strategy here. This could be the winning one because you see with Dalton and Fontaine and those guys pitting when they did, they got this advantage, a pretty good margin, if you will. As a matter of fact, let me pull up the track map. The best way to show you the basically where everybody is. Right, yeah, never mind. I guess the map's halfway off the screen. This is what happens when you have to do a lot of editing and you forget to read that setting. One-man show. One-man show. It's my excuse for everything. Oh, trouble! Brian Sutphin into the outside wall. Coming back down. Look out. And that track map means nothing. Caution out for the second time. As Brian Sutphin, the 26 car, who needed a good run to survive potentially into the Final Four, is the second caution here. This is going to allow the leaders to come back for tires. Richard Midkiff to his outside here. And I hate to say this, netcode a little bit. And this is not the first time. Oh, and Cedric Ingram gets a piece of it. This is not the first time we've seen the 29 and 26 get together in a race. I can think back, was it Chicagoland earlier this season? And it was almost very similar, where Midkiff was up on the outside wall, come down, and there was a little bit of netcode there, unfortunately. And then Cedric, nowhere to go, knocks his hood off. And strategy in play here. Jason Dalton and others on pit road. Of course, you're going to do that to me, cameras. Race off pit road. Dalton holding off Fontaine, Johnson. I'll tell you what this did do. Those guys who short pitted just got the track position here. So look at this. Sean Peachin stays out. And I think this is something he kind of had to do here. Remember, he pitted under his caution at lap 15. So you wonder if Peachin maybe just preserving that last set of tires in case he needs it here later in this race. Canyon Sutphin coming to pit road here. Big shout out to Downrange Transport for the Premier Series, of course, sponsoring. Almost feel like the Yahtzee board has been shooken up a little bit. The KJD2 guys took the gamble, short pitted. Dalton and Fontaine out front now with Peachin. Of course, Peachin's going to have older tires, which could be interesting here on the restart. Peyton Johnson being fourth now. He's got a shot. And then Tyler Pluff. I'm sure Tyler's not going to want to talk to me, but we're going to do it anyways. I am not doing this for the sake of jinxing people. But Tyler Pluff, you've been very, sorry to interrupt your convo, by the way. Very impressive to be able to roll up front. Now this caution comes out. You've sort of lost that track position, but you've shown that task to be able to pass cars. Do you think you can get to the front?
We're gonna give it a try. Just trying to reposition. I thought we had the call there in our Nexus Designs Ford Mustang to take the win, but we're gonna give it a second try here.
I've noticed a new friend has made an appearance just now as we were talking. The
Yes.
sun. That's gonna make things interesting.
Yeah, track's interesting on restarts already. So we'll see how it treats us. Hopefully, just a clean, fun race to the end.
Absolutely, buddy. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Tyler Pluff. We'll see what the sun does now. You know what it does to me? It makes me want to turn up my speakers as we come to the restart. You should do the same. One man's gain is another man's loss, and that gain is Peyton Johnson, as he is now all of a sudden up here P2. Has struggled outside the top 5 here throughout the night, and now is on the bumper of Jason Dalton, looking for the lead of this race. Is Diego making moves back here inside of Fontaine? Here's the question. Do you go hard here and try to get to the finish of this race, or do you save tires a little bit for the last few laps of this run? 30 laps to go next time by. I've always been a man of the art of saving tires, but it's very hard to do when you're mentally focused on the finish being only 30 laps away. And you could easily burn up the tires, especially the right front at this track. The guys that took the effect of that caution, the Laser team, Alfin. You see him back there battling for 6th right now. Miles back in 11th. And AB right now in the 8th position there behind Alfin. I mean, the caution definitely flipped it. When Thornton thumping the wall. Now, I talked about Sammy Barnes, by the way. Let me throw this up on the screen real quick for you. Sammy B hooking me up with the new Turn It Up segment. How about that? Did some work on that. Not to mention, you might have noticed at the beginning of the broadcast when you come on the air, where is it? This here? It's going to cover the screen for a second. All this work right here. This stuff right here. Yes, old Sammy Barnes. Big Daddy. has been doing all this work for me. I mean, he is literally watching the streams as we talk. He might be watching right now, just playing undercover and seeing things that he can just go work on. And he'll send me a file like the next day, be like, try this, try that. And I'm like, oh, all right. And he knows my goals and stuff. I've shared it with him. And I owe that man the world right now for what he's been able to help me out with here the last couple of weeks. Not to mention, he's putting a paint scheme together for the Scalicast for the 24 Hours of Daytona coming up here in a couple of weeks. And, you know, he did the logo for the Scalicast too, oh, by the way. So, the man's done a lot of work. As Alfin inside of Fontaine for 6. Going to bring Bryson with him. You know, and then obviously the viewers from last week's race here. You remember I had the timing and scoring thing a little smaller and down the screen a little bit. Gave me some good feedback saying they had a hard time seeing the names and stuff. So I wanted to make sure you guys were able to get what you guys need. So I appreciate the feedback. I'm always open. I'm listening. Most of the time. Selective hearing. All right, so Dalton's been able to stretch it on Johnson now. So you wonder if Peyton has worn the tires out a little bit. Maybe Dalton playing a little possum, if you will. A little George Jones with him. Has it out to 0.2 of a second now. Or I should say a second and 0.2 now over Peyton Johnson, who's got 3 over Strayer. Pluff is back to 4th. Oh, Strayer clobbers the wall. That opens the door for Signs to get inside a Pluff here. This could be... Oh, easy to spin the tires off the corner. As Signs passes Pluff. And for somebody who just nailed the wall pretty good. Strayer able to put some pressure on Johnson here for second. And Tanyan back here for 11th also going on. So good racing here, good battling on a track that I have said for a couple of years now. There's been the talks that Dover might lose the one race as left as Strayer about pushed Peyton Johnson out to the Air Force Base off turn 4 there. You know, obviously the grandstands have not been full. They've taken out plenty of them. Track's been very tight. Peyton Strayer, wow. I said the one thing that could fix this track, and trust me, I'm not perfect, but my suggestion is Peyton gets the wall with Strayer. They're getting tight up here for second. Put progressive banking on this track. Signs might have been the guy that lost out in this deal here. Almost losing third. Strayer sends it into the corner inside of Johnson. Tight. You can't get any tighter than that. Oh! I mean, good grief. He set it on him. Oh, and the wall he goes. Oh, more contact and up the track into the wall they go. Tyler Pluff and Diego Signs involved. Oh, the boxing ring. Bless you, my friend. It can get tighter, Everett. You are surely right by that. Good. Good. I loved it. That was fun. This is the caution that somebody like Sean Peachin needed. I mean, that was, I'm not criticizing him or anything, but that he was sending it in there and sending it in there. And I'm like, oh, this is getting closer, closer. You're just sending it in there a little deep, and Strayer almost shades of, was it Clint Boyer over in turn 4 in the Xfinity car? We went all kinds of sideways. Oh, please give me deets. I need deets on this, please. Everett saying a disco might go nuts in the Discord. I need details. All right, leaders on pit road here. So say Tyler Pluff wins the race with no nose, but he is not in this running, unfortunately. Oh, did Johnson get Dalton there? Oh, they gave it to Dalton. Oh. A bold move there, Cotton. You know what? Hey, what did we talk about just a little bit ago? The shorter distance around the track? Dalton got turned left quicker here. Oh my gosh. That's can't get that right there might be the separation in this win right here. All right, so hey, look at here. Joey Ladesseur stays out with 13 to go. Uh-oh. Speaking of bold moves, Cotton. 25-ish lap old tires. And Brian Sutphin saying, gotta love teammates in chat. He got together. That's not the first time he and Midkiff have gotten together. Meeting on Monday or on Thursday at the KJD offices. Going to be interesting. Top 6 cars. All playoff drivers. As we're getting ready to take the green here. Should get one to go here. Lights are off. Shout out to the viewers who have stuck around to watch tonight. Appreciate that. This might be a good opportunity to go get some people you know who are ready to see a good finish to this race. Because I think we're about to see. We just got some fireworks. Still got the grand finale to go and so much more. For those wondering if the broadcast jinx bit Tyler Pluff, I think we made it past our time that it cannot be considered anymore of a jinx because he, ran plenty of laps after that. Just saying. If it would have happened immediately afterwards, totally understood. All right, here we go. Ladesseur, older tires on the top side. That's his teammate Dalton to the inside here. So Bryson's going to be kind of trapped here. He needs to get to the corner. If I'm Ladesseur, I wait to restart. Because he gets spread out a little bit here. Can get Bryson to run out of the corner or into the turn 1. Here we go. Good restart for the 23. Bryson gets to the bottom. gonna say, if Lonosaur waits, Dalton would have still gotten the lead, but you would have trapped that 38 car in the outside lane. Jacob Thornton up there to 6th position. Great run for that 11 car. He's going to look inside of Miles for 5th. Bryson had to run, lost the nose a little bit, and got the wall. As Dalton just ran the fastest lap of the race up front. I said earlier that the caution might have helped Sean Peachin. It actually didn't help him as much as it could have because everybody else had tires to use there too. So Peachin now, after he bounces off the wall, is P8. Understood, Diego, my man, understand. I would bring you up, but I'm sure you're pretty disappointed, so I'm gonna, I'll leave you be, buddy. There are going to be some drivers in a must-win situation next week at Gateway. Johnson clipped the apron and got a little tight. Interesting air. Lap car, Tyler. Okay, jumps out of the way. Good move on Tyler's part. AB, one of his home tracks, if you will. A little MTJ there. From up here in the Northeast area, I believe Pennsylvania is his home state. Seems to be pretty good in the center, but then loses the nose center off. But look at the 15 of Johnson. Get that first win and you want more after that, and that's what Johnson wants. Dalton playing defensive with Bryson a little bit. Little aero block. Back here, Miles trying to get 4th. And he's going to get him. So Miles past Fontaine. Bryson loses the nose again. And Fontaine crossed over Miles back there, by the way. And battles all over the place. I mean, if you're Bryson, do you try the middle groove here to see if you can get a run, or is it too late? He's got a little room behind him now to try a move like that. Miles and Fontaine getting the outside wall. I mean, he's putting his nose in the air there just to try to get there to kind of play peekaboo with him. As they come off turn 4, final lap. Can Bryson get him? To the outside he comes. He's got the run. Oh, Dalton's going to slide up on him. Oh, they're going to be tight to the line. Bryson with the run. And Bryson with the win. He did make the outside line work. Bryson, one of the drivers that did not win a race during the regular season, gets his first win and advances into the Final Four, by the way, with that pass. Talking about clutch. That's now 2 laser cars in the Final Four. Let's get him up here now. Bryson, what a pass, my man.
No freaking way. I am shaking like a leaf in fall right now, ready to fall off the damn tree. But I'll tell you what, this has got to be the greatest feeling in the world to me. And I just feel like I earned it fair and freaking square. That's how I feel.
What, was that like a hidden move you had there? Because I sat there with about 3 to go. I'm like, is he going to try the outside here eventually or what? And all of a sudden, bam, you pounced up there.
I just practicing in practice. I worked on that high line, tried to get the runoff, and I knew I could get the runoff in a short run. And, you know, unfortunately that caution came out, and I had a gut feeling if I could get to the bottom on that restart, I felt like I had a chance. And I tell you what, Captain, I know Jason Dalton raced me clean. I raced him as clean as I could. I'm at a loss for words. Like, I'm not going to lie to you.
Understood. And obviously Miles went and got the win last week at Texas, and now you get this win, and you put 2 of the laser cars in the Final Four, just like that.
Yeah, and that's something we've been working on all season, and that's been the goal, get all 3 of us in there. And I really, really feel, I really feel like we have an opportunity to get all 3 of us into the championship 4. But this is just what hard work, dedication, it finally freaking paid off. It finally paid off. And I just can't thank everybody enough. I'll let you talk now.
Yeah, no, you're fine, man. Talk about that restart, because I for one, you're stuck behind Ladisor on older tires. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, if Joey goes later, it's going to pin you up to the outside where he actually took off and you got a good enough run behind him to jump there behind Jason.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was kind of worried about. I was worried about that. I was kind of worried about Joey spinning the tires a little bit because I knew the teammates were on the inside there. And, of course, they were up front as well. It's just I was worried, but I kept telling myself if I can get a better jump than the 2 guys behind me, I know I can get to the inside, and I feel like I can give at least Jason a run for his money. And I know Jason's a great driver. I think everybody in this league is a great driver, and it just, I don't know. I can't gather all the words up yet, Captain.
Now, I know you kind of talked about it a little bit before I let you go here. Just give me that last lap. Play it in your head. What did you feel? What went through your mind there? Because I noticed there were times you were trying to show him the nose and stuff, it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to pull the Earnhardt Rattles cage. I wanted it to be clean. Final lap, had a voice in the back of my head screaming, "Diamond it, diamond it, diamond it."
Miles.
Yeah, he's the voice that lives inside my head in these races. And you know what? He can rent that space out all he wants to. All I heard was diamond, and I thought I heard slide job. I thought I heard a Dale Jr. slide job there for a second. And so I was like, I said, I'm going to, and I was already, positioned myself to the outside there, at least the middle outside. And I thought I overdrove 1 and 2. And I was worried about the wall because I know how Miles the Monster likes to come out and grab these cars. And just going down the backstretch, I mean, I don't think I've ever pushed that gas pedal so hard before in my entire life. And I was like, just give me a little bit more. And I just sent it into 3. I sent it into 3 a little deeper than I normally have all race. And I just happened to peek over left real quick, and he was still at my door. I said, well, I've been in this situation before in other cars. So on the last lap at Dover, coming out of 4, I said, it's either going to make or break both of us. And, I unfortunately grabbed the wall there a little bit, but just had the momentum, I felt like. And, I mean, I don't know how close it was. I got to go back and look, at the start-finish line and see how close it really was. But apparently it was super freaking close.
I will let you take a peek here. I'll share my screen in Discord here with you really quickly as you get a chance to send a shout to whoever you like to.
I guess first off, shout out Laser Racing. Stephen Miles, the man that lives inside my head. Brandon Alphin. I got to thank, of course, Laser Racing. I got to thank GLSR for letting me race in this environment, in these races. I got to shout out my wife, my kids, especially my wife, letting me, take time out of our busy lives to do this. I'm going to shout out my dad. I got to shout out my wife's grandmother. I'm going to shout out Dalton Wilson. There's a name you haven't heard in a while.
I heard that.
Uh, just thank everybody that's involved in my life and on my, sim racing career the past couple of years. I can't thank them enough. And of course, I can't, end this without, thank you. I have to thank you. I feel like when we've raced together, and even raced against each other sometimes, I always felt like you made me a better competitor, and you're just an amazing broadcaster. And what you've done the past couple races that I've been a part of, whether it's been this or another league I've been in, your presentation is amazing. I've always said you had a voice for racing, and it's amazing to go back and watch.
I appreciate that. Got a face for radio too, as they say. But great job tonight, man. Hey, you made
you.
that photo on SDK there. I think that's
No way.
I think that look right there is like, that's a me move right there, boys.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that is close right there. Wow.
Well, great job, man. Congratulations. I can't think of a Dover race that had a finish like this.
No,
in
I
recent
can't.
times. I mean, the Boyer race I talked about where he went flying into the infield pretty much.
Yeah.
That's the one that comes to my head, but nothing like this, man. Great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. As AB goes to victory lane here tonight, here at the Dover Motor Speedway. Can anybody else think of anything? I mean, I can't think of any race at Dover like that. This track is usually so aero dependent. You don't get side by side finishes at a track like this. And that's not like a detriment to this track or anything. It's just the product. But man, one person gets the win. Unfortunately, the other one falls short here, and that's Jason Dalton. Jason, I know you were doing everything. I was watching. Obviously, doing every kind of aero block you could. Did you think or come to feel that an outside move like that might happen?
Yeah, I did. I was, I pulled down to kind of take the inside away there a lap before, and he ran it to the outside, and I mean, he ran it to the limits, plumb up against the wall, and got a little straighter run off the corner. But I could have done some things different. I could have been a little dirtier about it, but I just wanted to race clean. He beat me, and he did. Not by much,
no,
but he did.
And that's one thing he did compliment you on was the way you raced him there, being clean and stuff. And was there ever the counter thought of putting yourself up in that middle groove and saying, if you're going to pass me, you're going to have to complete the pass on the bottom?
Yeah, a little bit. Not really, not so much for him to go under me. Actually, I probably should have ran the middle groove when I seen him go high anyways, just to give myself a better run off the corner. But again, I didn't want to get up there and us beat and bang and wreck each other or do something. I just, I wanted to race clean, but I could have done a little bit better there in that last corner for sure.
I'm going to pull up the points here really quickly because off the top of my head, I couldn't remember exactly where you were in points. You entered Jason Dalton. Are you not in the playoffs? There you are, 8th.
Yes.
Well, I'm like, where are you at? Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So Pluff had issues. Diego had issues. So, I mean, doing the math here, you might just slid yourself right up there in that 4th spot with the 2 winners. Fontaine would be maybe 5th. You're going to be right there in the bubble, it looks like. Going into Gateway next week, is that a good feeling to have, or does this make it sting a little bit more?
Nah, I mean, obviously, I'd love to be locked in and have a race I could enjoy next week. But, I like Gateway. It's a fun track. I've had some success there, in the past. So, I mean, in order to get in, you got to be good and you can't mess up. And I had a mess up last week is the reason I'm in the place I'm in right now. So, I would have liked to have sealed the deal, but it just didn't fall that way. And congrats to Bryce. He raced me clean as much as I raced him. So it's fun racing.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations on your 2nd place finish, and let's hope for the best at Gateway next week, buddy.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Great job to Jason Dalton finishing in the 2nd position. To him, he should be right there at the bubble. It's going to be very interesting to see. And what makes that really interesting for him is if, say, Miles or Bryson goes out and wins that race, then that opens the door for Dalton to maybe sneak in by not winning a race if he can stay right there on the bubble. Otherwise, if another driver gets that 3rd spot with a win, it could come down to teammates racing each other for the third spot, and Fontaine has got himself out there a pretty good advantage after last week and finishing fifth. It's going to be a pretty decent margin there for Fontaine to maybe take that fourth spot by default, basically, when it's over with. So it could literally be a win and get in for everybody next week at Gateway, which, at a track like that, imagine the people sending it or whatever into turn 1 or turn 3 when there's not something like that on the line, and now you're going to have potentially the whole entire field trying to win to get in, or at least a playoff field at Gateway. So that's going to be interesting to that's a whole nother element that we'll have to hit up next week. But let's bring up the old troublemaker daddy into the chat here. Earl Peyton Johnson, third place finish, man. That caution back right after pit stops there and cycled you up to the front, that was almost a money move for you.
Yeah, I got completely lucky with that. If it'd come a lap later, I'd have been placed more. I think I was catching Fontaine there because he'd been out longer than I had. But not a track I'm great at. I will 1,000% take the finish.
Obviously, the battle with Dalton, I could see the short run speed in that 15 car. You had it. Obviously, it fell off there in that little run that you had. What was it? Just track position, basically, in the end, or was tonight just a matter of you getting the best finish you could?
Yeah, I definitely got the best finish that I was going to get. Did not have a third place running person behind the wheel, but got there. Bryson getting down on me there in the restart, that's my fault, and that allowed him to get by second because Joey was on those old tires. I should have been up closer to Dalton and been able to hold that and then let him and I run it off, or the three of us run it off. But they were all fast. That move was awesome to watching Bryson take it on the outside there and slap the wall. He basically tank slapped it and still carried the momentum to get the win, which was cool to watch.
Yeah, because this is, I'm still trying to think through my mind here. I've kind of run through all the years. I cannot think of a side-by-side finish at Dover like that. So, obviously, to see that move, and I know there was probably a part of you, there's that little piece of the evil that comes out of you that's like, all right, waiting on somebody to just go up there and clobber each other, and here comes the win, boys.
Oh no, I was 100% diamonding the corner, thinking that they might get into each other, and I could just run down to the bottom and get by them. For the last 3 laps, I was like, all right, y'all start touching, because I knew that would help me out a lot. So yeah, I'm not saying I wasn't pulling for that, but I'm glad they finished it clean, and to watch it finish like that's always fun. It doesn't matter if I was third or 100th.
Right.
That was cool to watch.
Well, let me throw I can't speak all of a sudden here, but the hypothetical is the word I'm looking for. Thought here: if you diamond the corner and you think going to the bottom at a track like Dover, you don't think those cars are coming down eventually?
I'm just trying to make it to that start finish line first. If they spin me and my transponder gets against first, I'll gladly take the hit, like AJ Allmendinger that one year at Bristol. Yeah, like let me take that shot and just run the short lane, put it down next to the fence at the pit road, and try to get there. But no, honestly, watching them was really cool. I knew the last couple laps nobody from behind was going to catch us, but it was fun. And watching the boxing ring right now, man, I'm just loving it.
Oh, I'm sure it's probably going active. I haven't peeked at it yet. I might have to go get my lawn chair. But anyways, real quickly, going into Gateway next week, I was just kind of doing some quick evaluation of the points. Not the new points, but obviously going into this week. And Fontaine got himself a pretty big jump out there in the points, having a 22-point advantage now as he was entering tonight over everybody else. Obviously, Bryson, becoming somebody who's not won a race yet, pops himself into the final 4, leaving 2 spots open. So it's almost become a fact where it looks like it's going to be a win to get into the final 4 for pretty much everyone else, unless Fontaine has an issue.
I think Dalton and I will be really close in points, and so I think he and I can fight for that last. There's a chance that we can point in if one of the people in front of us were to be leading. But I agree with you. It's going to be the mindset's going to be win to get in the finals. I was great at New Hampshire, which is similar to Gateway. It's a low banked oval. I really like my chances. I feel like I drive those low banked ovals really well. And the league making the switch to this car this year, I think, really has helped the racing. And you better have a good right shoe. These cars depend on it. So I think that my chances will be good there. I'm going to start practicing for it tonight, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I think definitely the mindset is winning you're in, but there is that outside shot that Dalton or I could point our way. And I think I should be probably 6 or 7 points behind him with him getting the win and the extra bonus points from that.
And with that said, I know you are not the right person for me to say this to, but we're interviewing you, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. Going to Gateway, it's going to be a good event for the right hand and the right shoe, as in shifting and gassing. So,
my right hand's great. You know that.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, all right. Send some shout-outs to relate to.
Just got to thank you. You put on a great show. It's always fun to talk to you. The league, this league has gotten so much better since I started running it years ago. It's great to be back. Thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you to my teammates. Those guys really cheer me on, and good to have them in my corner there. Got to thank, everybody that races here for good, clean racing, hard racing. I mean, nobody lets anybody by here, and you got to earn everything you get. So it's a lot of fun.
Well, great job tonight. Congratulations, and stay warm, obviously. And we'll see you next week at Gateway.
Yes, sir. Have a great week.
Absolutely, too, buddy. Peyton Johnson, the third place finisher here at Dover. And it's one of those things where I feel like I totally set myself up for the spike there a minute ago. Sometimes you say stuff and you're like, man, what was I doing? But anyways, we move on. Dover complete. Round number 2 in the books. And it is definitely going to be interesting. Now, the way that Sim Racer Hub is set up and the way that these guys have it set up, it's a little different. So I'm not going to show it on the air because it's very tricky to read. But let me see if I can pull up really quickly the point standings of what I think it looks like going into, and I'll just kind of read it off to you. Just give me 1 second here, make sure I'm in the right place. Race results. They should have gotten it. They're usually pretty good at getting this stuff up pretty quickly here. Dover is not up there yet, so never mind. I won't get a look at it. But let me put on my math hat here, which is not the biggest hat in the world, but I'm going to do my best here. Let's bring up the standings from last week again. As we went into tonight, you see Fontaine had that huge lead. Miles, obviously, he's got that sticker there to the right. You move up. Alex Bryson from the 5th position. He now has that checkered flag sitting right there above Sam. Fontaine with a pretty big lead over Signs already. Alphen finished in the 8th position. And let's see, Peyton Johnson finished in front of Fontaine. So you're looking at a 20-plus point lead from Fontaine to pretty much whoever ends up in 4th in points, which, according to my guess here, is going to likely be Jason Dalton or Johnson. It's going to be one of them two. Pluff's going to fall. Alphen's going to fall a little bit. And then Signs. So you're probably going to see Peyton Johnson 3rd, Jason Dalton 4th, if not tied, and then Brandon Alphen 5th. Going to next week at Gateway, but Fontaine's going to have such a big lead that if we do not get a new winner next week, say if Miles or Bryson win again or Sam Fontaine wins, you're looking at somebody making it in on points there at 4th. Otherwise, if a new driver wins, then it's literally a win and get in for that 3rd driver. So Gateway's going to be fun next week because, as Peyton mentioned, it's one of those tracks that's fast down the straightaways, and then you got to slam on the brakes and hang a left. And the one thing at tracks that you have to do that, people get ran over. People get mad. Could we see a bump and run next week? That could be a factor here when it's all over with. So, 7 days. Let's go to St. Louis. Meet me in St. Louis. Or I might even... Now, you don't want me singing any kind of Nelly. I won't do that tonight. We're just going to head out. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. Stay warm. Obviously, there's another cold front coming through, and most of the areas are going to see some very, very bitter cold temperatures here throughout. So if you're up here in the Midwest where I am, or even, heck, down to Georgia and parts of Florida where it actually gets cold, stay warm, obviously. Stay safe. And always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.